All right, we should be live now. What's up, ladies and gents? We got night baseball tonight, 25th of August. I did the day slate already. We're going to run through the night slate right now and wish everybody the best of luck today.
Yeah, excited to talk this one out. There's a pitcher I really like on this slate. He's cheap. So, yeah, excited to
Who
get
is
after
it?
Hernandez from the Marlins. I mean, Cabrera. Excuse me, not Hernandez. Wow. Yeah, it's one of the best pitching prospects in baseball, one of the Marlins' better prospects, getting the call up in a really good spot. I like him a lot at 5K.
Says it right here, 48 strikeouts in 29 innings. So there is what I think we could call that legit strikeout upside.
Yeah, and I mean, the flip side of it, sure, young pitcher making his first start. We've seen this time and time again. The other offense, the offense facing them, get to them. And I could see that if you want to take your shot on Washington. Washington just isn't very good. So I feel like we can go to Cabrera here.
Also, there's a lot of good pitchers on this slate, but I don't really love any of them.
I'm with you 100% there.
I think Ohtani's my favorite, though.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense.
So going back into all these, I mean, these are good pitching options. Like, you guys know I'm a monster Brandon Woodruff fan, but I mean, the strikeouts have not been there routinely lately.
No.
Cincinnati's a good offense. I am just not interested today.
He has not been great. I could see him bouncing back here. I probably have more interest than you do, but I doubt I go there. I mean, give me Wheeler, who I like a lot.
You do like, well, see, Wheeler's another guy. I'm a big Wheeler fan, but he has been unimpressive to me lately, so I wasn't really that interested in him against a good Tampa team. So it sounds like you feel differently.
Yeah, well, for me, I have that 5K pitcher in my back pocket, so I don't mind spending up a little bit on my FP1. And I used Wheeler in that Mets start. He hasn't been great in the other outings, but he was good in that Arizona game. He just kind of got hit around at the end. I like this spot for him. Tampa strikes out a lot, no DH. Sure, it's risky as hell. I just think the upside's there as well.
Darvish was a big no thank you for me. You could talk me into Walker Bueller. That's pretty easy to do. He's just really good, right? There's no other two ways about it.
And the Padres are sliding fast.
Fast, right? Like they're on like one of those yellow slip and slides. That's how quickly they're sliding.
Yes.
So again, I think Walker Bueller. So the three guys, because I was looking at like Robbie Ray.
Sure.
Who I like, but he's a lefty against the White Sox. It was Ohtani. Giolito's good, but he's really cheap, but he's going up against Toronto. So for me, it was Ohtani. And then Castillo, he had a rough start 2 starts ago, but besides that, has been really good lately. Now you got the Brewers with no Escobar, probably no Adames today. So the Yelich is really starting to see the ball well, but outside of that, I mean, they're losing guys left and right.
Yeah, I'm with you. Castillo's definitely on my short list too. I do like Ray though. Also, you mentioned tougher spot, kind of like I talked about with Wheeler. Like the risk is real, but I think the upside's real as well.
He has had a great season for Toronto, and this is a guy that I don't know about you heading into the year. I had little to no expectations for him.
Definitely not this.
No, he's been awesome. I mean, he's legit. You could talk about him in the Cy Young conversation.
Oh yeah, he's got to be like top 5, right?
Yeah, and that is not anywhere close to the expectation I had starting the season. And he pitches the whole season in a nice hitter park.
Last time we had this conversation, I think it was like a month ago. Carlos Rodon was on top of that list. He's been on the IL since. Who is the AL Cy Young right now?
I don't know.
I mean, he was out for a little bit too. I'm not sure.
So I mean, I get Robbie Ray. I know you liked Barrios last night, and a lot of those same things probably apply today. Only Robbie Ray could actually pitch better.
Sure. Now you did say it though. Like I hate using lefties against the White Sox, but like you also mentioned, Ray's having a great year.
So it is really, really good names on this one because from Ohtani on up, I mean, this is a list of who's who of DFS pitchers or just pitchers in general, but. I don't like the spots for a lot of these guys. Like maybe gun to head, I just go Walker Bueller just because he is. I mean, he's the NL Cy Young right now, right?
Yeah, I think so. Especially with Wheeler falling off a bit.
Yeah, and all three of the Milwaukee guys have, would also have slipped and will eat into each other. So I think for me, it's got to be Walker Bueller in the NL. And you mentioned it right with San Diego. Like they are slipping fast. So I guess gun to head, he's probably my guy. He's been really, really, truly impressive, especially post All-Star break.
Yeah, he has been just dominant. So it makes sense. He's been, even when he doesn't have his ace stuff, he finds a way to have really productive games. So yeah, he makes sense on any slate he's on. This one's no exception, no doubt.
Yeah, he's a special young man. So I think gun to head, one lineup, I probably use Bueller, Ohtani. But now you got me intrigued with the 5K guy, especially once we talk through offenses. And if there's big money guys I like, well, that 5K guy gives you all a brand new build.
And the other guy that I'm interested in a little bit, and well, two guys actually. One, he's too expensive and he's like been so inconsistent, is Plesac. The one time I used him, he was so good. So like he's been on my good side. I've called him out a couple times where he's been really good. It's been more of an aberration. He won't get any love though, and he's facing Texas.
Yeah, this is there's different slates where against Texas he would get attention because it's Texas, but with all these names on here, I can't imagine anybody pays for Plesac with Ohtani and Castillo and Bueller right there.
He's more expensive than Giolito. The other guy though that I also was looking at a little bit was Josiah Gray, opposite Cabrera. In this crush spot against the Marlins. Eric Fetty just had 10 Ks against the Marlins last night. I think he's worth looking at in tournaments, if nothing else.
I gotcha. I clicked on him for a bit this morning. All right, so we got these world beater offenses right here in Arizona against Pittsburgh, where we talked this one out 2 days ago. You want to play a Brian Reynolds or Ketel Marte? I get it. These are tough teams to stack, but they're not in bad spots.
No, they're in pretty good spots. So Ketel Marte, definitely my favorite piece. He didn't start last night, but pinch hit homered.
He's good and hot.
The other guy I kind of like is Asdrubal Cabrera, really cheap. Had been slumping big time. Not that he was like monster last night, but he had 2 hits in his final 2 at bats, including a double. So I like that. Buying signs.
Yeah, he's cheap too.
Mm-hmm. Hitting third.
All right, Tampa against Philly. I'm not into Wheeler like you are today, but I'm also not trying to get to Tampa Bay bats. You guys know how much I like Zach Wheeler. Again, I like this Tampa offense, but they're not for me today.
No, definitely not for me. I don't think using a couple pieces of Philly is crazy. Hoskins is back. Real Muto's really good. Not a spot I'm like overly excited about though.
Agreed. All right, so speaking of these Angels that I improperly played last night with legit the worst players on the team were the ones in my lineup. They absolutely went off against whatever scrub they threw out there last night. Well, they're back at it today, throwing Dean Creamer out there, who is just god-awful. So it's hard to talk about a lot of these Angels guys because they're not great, but they aren't great names that were absolutely great last night.
Yeah, they're in another great spot. They allow you to spend up on pitching. Brandon Marsh has been good recently. Adele. I mean, these guys are these young with some talent. So, yeah.
I mean, they're playing for something in their mind at least. Like a lot of these guys are, with the Angels out of it for the whatever it's been 20 straight years now. I mean, they're playing for jobs and stuff like that, and they're trying to make their name at the end of the year. I mean, for young guys, this can be more of a motivation than say, an older player.
Definitely. I mean, they're playing for jobs, like you said. I'm with it.
So, I mean, I'm in for any piece of the Angels you want to go with. You just have to wait out the lineup, and they're affordable today. You can't use Ohtani, but that didn't matter last night.
No, it didn't, and that might keep people off them.
It might. Just look at last night as fluky, I guess. All right, next up we got White Sox against Toronto, Giolito against Robbie Ray. Interesting game because these are 2 good pitchers and 2 good offenses in a nice, hitter's ballpark and everything like that. I could understand, especially getting to Toronto bats against Giolito. I don't think I will, but I could make a really good argument and conversation for that.
I agree. Definitely agree. I mean, they hit good pitching. I wish there were a little bit of a smaller slate, but it's not. And ultimately, like, this is probably why I won't use Robbie Ray. Although, man, I love his upside. Like, because the White Sox against lefties are just lethal.
Yeah.
Now that they have Robert and Jimenez back, we talked about that at the beginning of the year. Like, they're missing 2 of their better bats against lefties, 2 really good hitters. Well, now they're back.
Also for me, which makes it harder, like Robbie Ray has been a pet project of mine since I drafted him in all my year-long leagues the year that he was an NL Cy Young candidate. And ever since then, he's just been god-awful. So I feel like as far as all MLB players, I watch him as closely as almost anybody that's not on the Brewers. And I still struggle to buy into what he's doing this season, even though he's been fantastic.
For sure. I get all that.
I get the Blue Jays argument. Giolito is not prone to getting hit from time to time. I just don't think I can actually do it.
I'll say this about the Blue Jays also. Like, they're still awesome, but they're kind of falling the way of the Padres a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
They haven't been as great. And the big thing for me is, like, the bottom of their lineup's pretty shitty. Like, it's not the worst thing ever, but when you get to, like, the Espinal, their catcher, like, they haven't been as great for the past couple weeks.
Yeah, and Vlad has slowed down. I think that's definitely, pushes Ohtani into a front-runner position for the MVP possibly.
Yeah, I think that's over, personally.
Yeah. We talked about Vlad for a long time. He's been really human, for the past couple weeks.
I don't think Toronto's even, like, in it anymore.
Yeah, so you're going to get a couple.
Amazing.
Yeah, the Yanks have really been rolling. All right, next up, Washington against Miami. You mentioned both of the pitchers in here. It's really difficult to get excited about either of these offenses. Look, you want to go with Juan Soto against a rookie pitcher. He's fantastic. Do your thing. He's walking a ton lately. They're basically pitching around him since there's really nobody else. And then there's the kid. I'm going to shout out to Dave Jones, who messaged me like 12 times about him yesterday.
Lane Thomas?
Yeah.
Yeah. Leading off for them for sure. Came over from the Cardinals, was kind of an also-ran there, but he's been good leading off for the Nationals.
He was the offense for the Nationals all weekend long against Milwaukee. And so that was kind of when I messaged back like, yeah, I've been watching him all weekend. He played against my team. He's locked in right now, 2K leading off. I don't care if you like the starting pitcher like you do or not. You could always play a 2K guy leading off, even against your pitcher.
Of course. He runs also.
Mets against the Giants. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I still don't understand how the Giants are so good, but my God, are they a good baseball team?
Their lineup's really good. They went off last night. I could see using them again today if they're going to get no love.
Yeah, Brandon Belt was a monster last night. They're just a good baseball team. They have all the intangibles that you seem to want out of a winning team.
Definitely. They pinch hit, though. So, like, the stack for DFS is not all that appealing. But, again, Yastrzemski went yard, late Wade leading off. I could see using some pieces.
Sure. I'll reiterate what you say most days about them. They pinch hit a lot too much for my taste, but there's a difference between real-life baseball and DFS-wise. And there's something about this team this year that I think for the masses, if you're not respecting them yet, don't be surprised if you see them do some damage this year in the playoffs.
I agree. I will say one point about the pinch hitting, though. Like, for me personally, I care more when they face a lefty, just because most teams bring in righties from the pen,
Makes a lot of sense. All right, moving on down the list. Minnesota against Boston, a couple of teams that also put up good runs last night. We got Ober against Pivetta. I'm going to assume that Boston gets good love today.
I was going to say, I'm going to assume they're the chalk. I mean, how can they not be? They've been good. They're the best offense on the slate. We haven't gotten to any spot that, like, stands out, except for this one.
So, I'm down with the fade, though. Ober's been all right lately. The Red Sox are not impervious to, going off every single day. I know Renfroe had a monster of a game last night.
Hitting eighth.
Yeah, so cool. You like that? Fine, do your thing. But I'll probably avoid Boston then right here, just because I'm assuming they're going to be real popular.
I'm assuming they're going to be real popular as well. They're in the best spot on the slate, so I'm kind of with you. I'll probably avoid them as well. I hope they don't go off. Verdugo is one guy I was going to say is a one-off. You can definitely look at. I mean, any of these guys is one-offs, but Verdugo, especially at 3,500, is red hot.
Yeah, newly hot and absolutely dirt cheap.
Yep.
And then Minnesota.
Yeah.
Veta is not out of the realm of possibilities right here. They've actually played all right, losing a lot of their best players. They still managed to put up runs a decent amount of the time. They still got a couple of good hitters and the likes of Polanco and Kepler and stuff like that. Polanco remains too cheap. It's like they messed up his price like 2 weeks ago, and it's like they refused to adjust it.
He's 3 of 3 off Pivetta also. I mean, not that you're taking too much out of that, but it doesn't hurt. And like you said, he's hot. Like, yeah, 3,600. I could see using these guys as one-offs in a mini stack either way.
Am I crazy when I say it's like they screwed up his price 2 weeks ago and like now they're just being stubborn and they refuse to raise it to what it should be?
Seems like it.
Like, oh, nope, we were right. We pushed him down to 2,900. That was the right call, even though he's one of the best home run hitters in baseball over the past month and a half or whatever it's been. Nope, we're gonna stick with it.
Yeah, makes no sense.
All right, DK, do your thing. So I do like Polanco. He's a good baseball player.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Texas against Cleveland. We got Plesac against what appears to be a bullpen game for the Texas Rangers. Any love for your Cleveland Indians today?
I don't know much about this Lats. I'm assuming that he's not good because he's pitching.
Well, he pitches for Texas. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'll look more into him. But yeah, I mean, Straw, Reyes, Ramirez, Rosario. I don't hate the Indians here. I don't love them. They don't jump off the page at me, but I don't think they're bad plays at all. Texas's pitching staff is not good. They've got cheap guys to go along with guys with upside. I don't hate it at all.
I think this is one where when ownership percentages come out later in the day, if Cleveland's getting no love, then they become really interesting.
Amen to that. I mean, that's what it is, right? If Cleveland's all of a sudden getting love, I have no interest. But if they're coming in under-owned, I could see why using them here. It's not a spot where, I have no interest in Cleveland.
If you're telling me Boston's 10 times the ownership that Cleveland is, I'm really interested then.
Yep. And then I also think, I mentioned Plesac, but he's been mostly dog shit. So I could see using some Texas bats. I talked about Nate Lowe. They've got some other really cheap guys at top of their line. Yeah, Garcia's 2,800. So I kind of assume Texas might get love, though, because they were good last night and they're really cheap.
I don't know, though. Nobody respects them. So this whole game might go really under-owned.
True. My boy Yanni, 2,200, maybe leading off. Yeah, they got real cheap price tags all over. And sometimes when players are this cheap, it keeps people off them just because there's no way to stack the Rangers without leaving money on the board, basically.
Yeah, Nate Lowe, newly hot, interesting play, only 2,500. So this whole game becomes real intriguing to me because we get into these next two games. Look, I don't like Brandon Woodruff today, and I do kind of like Castillo, but I'm not really interested in him going offensive heavy right here. I still respect Brandon Woodruff. Yelich is really starting to put together a bunch of good quality at bats. He's seen the ball significantly better, but I'm not trying to get to him at 5,300.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have more interest in Woodruff than the Reds. Even if I don't use Woodruff here, I still am a believer in him, and I'm willing to buy him on the down as opposed to stacking against him. And then it sounds like you like Castillo a little more than me, but I have no interest in using Milwaukee. I mean, Colton Wong has crushed Castillo. I could see using a one-off there, but I'm not excited about it. And like you mentioned, they're probably going to be missing Adames along with Escobar. That said, Wong is hot and cheap.
Yeah, home run last night to extend the lead. This is where, the Dodgers, to me, they're the best lineup and they're the best team in the NL. But there's something about Milwaukee and San Francisco where they just feel like this is their year. The Brewers are doing just an excellent job all season long. They have these one-run leads, and then they find a way to add on late in the game to secure these victories. Good comeback win last night. They were down 4-1. Wong hits a late home run to extend the lead from 1-2. He's cheap too.
He's very cheap. And Castillo is my guy that I'm afraid to use a one-off against.
All right. Next up, we got Darvish against Walker Bueller. I have no interest in seeing.
I'm seeing, and who knows about this? I'm seeing that this could be Blake. Did Blake Snell just pitch?
I don't know, because I have Blake Snell starting in a year-long league now that you say that.
Because I'm seeing, I don't know who the starter is for the Padres yet, and it might be Darvish, it might not be. So I would just keep that open.
Okay. Just as close. So actually, I think you're right about that one. So that's a good call. Well, no interest in Padres bats. No. Potentially a little interest in Dodger bats if they're really low owned, especially.
If they're really low owned, depending on who they're facing, sure. I mean, more one-offs. They're really expensive. Not the greatest ballpark. Game starting 2 hours later than any other game. We saw that yesterday too. It's bizarre.
Yeah, which would keep their ownership potentially even down even lower.
We'll definitely keep their ownership down for sure.
So maybe LA. I still think gun to head, Boston's going to get too much love. So I'm more likely to end up on this Texas-Cleveland game just because it's going to get a lot less attention, in my opinion.
I dig it. And I also like the Angels call with no.
Yeah, Dean Creamer gets creamed.
These guys for the Orioles are so bad, and their bullpen's awful. Yeah.
Remember in the beginning of the year, we were wondering why Matt Harvey was still making starts. Now I get it. Like,
Yeah.
you legit have nothing else going for you.
Good call. Now we get it.
So you're right. And all that we've talked about right here makes me less likely, I think, to get down to your 5K guy from the Marlins, only because I don't think I'm going to need the salary. I'll probably just end up on Ohtani and Walker Bueller.
Yeah, I get that. I do think that that's going to be coming there. I mean, what even expensive bats are there?
The Dodgers, maybe. That would be the one team I think we could get to because the Angels are cheap, Cleveland's cheap, and Texas is cheap. So I think depending on who's pitching, late night Dodgers might work for me.
Yeah, it might work for me too.
Okay. Well, guys, that's what we got for today. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday.
Thanks, guys. Write-up will be out normal times for both slates.